Yeah, the idea is that just when I get older, I can look back and see just like what I was doing at this time, and then I can just then my kids hopefully and I mean maybe my grandkids. Uh, but yeah, this past year I started yeah, last time I was interviewed, I was just about to start school. Um, and so I did that spring semester. Um, and yeah, I just got started doing developmental math. Um, and I started getting involved a little bit in the track team at the school, and yeah, uh,
What was that incident where somebody, was it Cornell, was
mhm.
interested in your running? What was that all about?
Well, over the summer, my mom and I visited Cornell to. It was it was it was basically. I was like, okay, this summer I want to maybe try and visit. I've been thinking about Cornell for a little bit, but I was like, this summer it'd just be good just to go visit. Visit Cornell and maybe one other place and just get it out of the way, and it'll get me excited for the fall semester because I'll see the school, I'll see the program, and it'll get me really excited to work hard. You know. So so I sent out an email to I I sent out an email to the head of agriculture at Cornell and told him like this is my history. I've had about 4 years now of working in organic farming. Um, I'd like to go in agriculture research. I'd also like to do agriculture policy. I'd like to work in making some agricultural differences in Maryland, my home state, and I'd like to come up and visit you and talk to you. And so I was able to set up a meeting with them.
Incidentally, do you send a picture usually with the resume? I'm not laughing, I'm just wondering if that's required or what.
No, not with like agriculture. Not with college interviews.
Oh, okay.
I could have sent a headshot just to show them my good looks.
Yes,
I said,
good. Or
yeah.
what you inherited from your grandfather.
Right. I mean, that's what I would put on the headshot is that this is just a taste of what my bohemian grandfather
Right.
looks like. Uh-oh.
Let her grab it elsewhere.
Okay.
She did.
But yeah, I went up to the school. It was so beautiful.
Is it?
So beautiful.
Oh, that's right. I visited
Yeah.
it once too.
Yeah, oh my god. So beautiful. And I got this feeling when I was there that I had this like unparalleled I had this confidence that I just because of my experience now with working in organic farming, I was able to talk to people there about research ideas, and they were really impressed with what I knew, and I was impressed that I was actually surprised that kids my age who were studying agriculture there, they didn't really know as much as I thought they would.
They probably didn't have your experience.
No, they don't have the practical like field experience, and they're just learning the stuff in the class, and so I thought that was really interesting, and I was able to meet with. He wasn't the no. I mean, he's not the head of agriculture at Cornell, but he's pretty high up there. This guy Tony DiTomaso.
Does he teach there?
Yeah. He teaches there, and I had a really good meeting with him, and I told him, look, I want to go into. I'd like to study ways of improving organic agriculture. And here are things that I've seen over the years that are really kind of lacking, like especially in small scale organic agriculture, because there's two. I mean, there's like here in California, there's massive organic agriculture, and there's small farms as well, obviously. But from my experience, just on small farms, like things that could be done to improve systems, things that could help small farmers financially. Um, and this is the kind of information like at research universities, like especially at Cornell, they're so focused on just soil research and like pest research that they're not really connected so much with the farmers themselves. And they say that they are, but it's um, they're not really that hip to what's going on like day to day with small farmers in their area. I mean, and they can't be, but they don't really have people like people who go into small farming. Um, they want to focus on their business, and they don't really want to go into research. So my position's kind of somewhat unique. Um,
And
but
how would they benefit you? Would you teach them about practical applications of farming or write about it? Or how would they find out about the practical stuff of farming instead of just the business part?
well, I don't think I mean I wouldn't teach anything new at all. Like I'd like to study. I'd basically just like to build upon what's being studied already, as far as just like minimizing um, tillage and kind of soil depleting practices, and just continuing to build upon that. I think a couple years ago, when I was interviewing, like when you were interviewing me, I was talking about ideas that I have using animals to, like using rotational grazing to build topsoil, and then combining that with vegetables, and then possibly doing a grain rotation within that as well.
A what location?
A grain. Um, and the idea is that it's basically just to work on like researching ways to reduce tillage on farms, like making it so you're almost not tilling the soil or plowing the soil at all for vegetables and for like annual crops. Um, and then one thing I'd like to get involved in I talked when I was up at Cornell. They've got really good agriculture policy. They've got a really good agriculture policy program, as well as really great research.
Isn't their agricultural school rate very high in the United States, number 4 or 5 or something like that?
People consider it the number one.
Number 1?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's all.
Over Davis yet.
Yeah. Well, for the East Coast, it's the number one on the East Coast, no question.
Oh. Well, that's still important.
Sure. Yeah. But yeah. So that visit was really, really great for me, just because I felt super confident. I was confident, but I was so excited. Like I hadn't been that excited in a long time. Like ever since like I hadn't been that excited since I had done theater and doing professional theater in DC. Like that was super exciting because I was at a good high level of theater. And at that level, like I noticed there was a lot of similarities between when I was at studio theater in DC and when I visited Cornell. Like these are places where they are kind of at the top of what they do in their field. And there wasn't a lot of ego. There wasn't very much ego at all. and it was people working on like an inspirational level rather than like a subsistence survival level.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are people who loved what like they love what they're studying and they're passionate about it, and that really comes through in the general energy that you feel when you're there. And obviously in their research publications, they're doing great stuff, and so it's just something that I'd love to be a part of, um, and really help things out back in Maryland. Like so right now, I don't know where
You're
I'll go
still
for
applying,
undergrad.
you say?
Well, I'm
Oh.
about to start that process. It's still so weird, like, because I've just been in the working world for, I guess, 4 years now,
Yeah.
and it's
I imagine that's a big plus, though, that what you did.
it's a big plus. It's
Going
yeah.
into college right out of high school would have
Mm.
probably left you with a lot of question marks.
A lot of question marks. I mean, a lot of the reason why I didn't go is because, just with me, like, I can't, I can't like half-ass things, and I knew that going into college, like right out of high school, I didn't know what it is I wanted to study, because I had left acting behind. And I was entering in a whole new interests. Like I just, so I needed to find something that I was totally passionate about, and that it'd be worth spending the money for my education. I didn't feel like going into like tens of thousands of dollars of debt to do something that I.
And what brought about agriculture as an interest for you? Do
Well,
you remember how it got started?
well, it was when I was in Australia, and I got involved there, um, and I decided this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do with my life.
You know,
And so
after you came back, you went to New Jersey on a farm, didn't you?
I did, and I got really good practical experience there. That really interested me in rotational grazing, and how that builds topsoil, and oh, that just was endlessly fascinating for me. And I learned I learned a lot. It was extremely difficult,
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah. At this point now, I always knew that I wanted to go to school for agriculture, but for me, I needed to get the practical experience so
Mm-hmm.
that I could go in being a valued student. And so at this point, that is the case. And so I had a really good season this past year working with Mike Klein and Scott Hertzberg. I worked for both of them part time. They were within driving distance of me. Two great organic vegetable farmers, um, and they were great fun to work with.